See, thing is, Nev, I thought you were an AEW guy now. I didn't think you could just jump back to WWE. And I think the gimmick change isn't going to suit you at all. If you want my honest opinion, what do you mean? What do I mean? I've just been reading about WWE in a super PAC. I assume that's not you? Oh, okay. Forget I called. The vagueness of essential business and the colour of money means that this Monday night shenanigan is live and still a thing. Time for the essential business of Raw Graded. The WWE Champion Drew McIntyre starts things off. He shows us footage of him beating the Big Show after WrestleMania. He beat Brock and Big Show in one night, and he is going to be a champion that defends the title against anybody who thinks that they are worthy of a title shot. Out comes Andrade with Zelina Vega, and we get a little history lesson during this back and forth. We're reminded that it was Andrade that beat Drew McIntyre for the NXT Championship and injured Drew for 6 months in the process. Drew certainly hasn't forgotten, and the match is on for later tonight. Champion versus champion, Drew McIntyre versus Andrade. And Andrade warns Drew there'll be no more Senior Nice Guy. B+ to start us off tonight. I thought this was a really great promo back and forth. Drew has got this wonderful gritty energy in his mic work that we will see on show again a bit later on tonight. The first women's Money in the Bank qualifier is up now. It is Asuka versus Ruby Riott. Asuka is gold at the moment, just constantly dancing and shouting. She was dancing to Ruby Riott's music at the start of this match. She's just screaming obscenities in Japanese as the whole match goes on. A pretty even contest, actually. Ruby Riott nearly gets a win after countering the Asuka lock into a pin, hits a flatliner for a near fall as well, but tonight belongs to Asuka, who gets the Asuka lock in and the submission on Ruby Riott to guarantee herself a place in the Money in the Bank ladder match. She tells us all afterwards that no one is ready for Asuka. B-, this was really fun match to get us properly underway on Monday Night Raw. Asuka's just been a quality performer over the last couple of weeks, and second week in a row where she's really been matched toe-to-toe with a former member of the Riott Squad. It's your turn next week, Sarah Logan. We go backstage to the VIP lounge. Montel Vontavious Porter announces we have 3 Money in the Bank qualifying matches next week, and they're all first-time ever matches as well. Rey Mysterio is going to take on Murphy. Austin Theory's taking on Aleister Black, and Apollo Crews, who had that belter last week, is facing MVP. I know, imagine that. A wrestler going back on their plans to retire. Yes. Whoa, 3 really fun first-time evers next week. Intrigued by these. One of those men in action now as Aleister Black takes on Oney Lorcan. Close quarters to start, interspersed with some hard-hitting strikes. We see the half crab by Oney Lorcan. We see that running knee bar from Aleister Black. Lorcan is lighting up Black with some chops, to which he responds with a big old knee to the face and the Black Mass for the 1, 2, 3. B- for me on this one. It was short, strong, competitive. Aleister Black is becoming a quality match machine at the moment, isn't he? He's a bit like a tattooed Kurt Angle. Out comes Becky Lynch, celebrating over a year as the Raw Women's Champion. And you know, all of that overconfidence and silliness that she was doing before WrestleMania, wearing King's crown and being all goofy. You know, remember all that? It was a setup all along. I know. Turns out Becky Lynch was fooling Shayna Baszler. She says the best way to get towards the Queen, to kill her, is to be the Joker. I've butchered that, not even sorry, but the point stands. Becky Lynch then throws it down to whoever wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. She says she is ready to shock the world again. giving Becky's promo a B. Not sure if this was a planned storyline or whether this was personality retcon. Don't know. Leave that up to you to decide. But it's a nice way to move Becky Lynch along a little bit. I still think we're going to see more Shayna and Becky down the road. If anything now, it makes that match more tantalising. Because if it has been the case that Becky was playing deliberate silly buggers with Shayna Baszler, the next time they face, Shayna's just going to batter her. And we find out just how angry Shayna Baszler is next. She is in a Money in the Bank qualifier against Sarah Logan. She's asked by Sarah Schreiber before the match starts about Ronda Rousey's comments this week. And Ronda's been very angry on the old Twitters, talking about her real feelings about wrestling. So I'm surprised they brought this up, but they did. Shayna responded with silence. She walked out to the ring. She was really brutal, giving Logan a mauling for the first part of this very, very short match. The referee calls off Shayna Baszler, and when the referee's back is turned, Shayna walks back into the centre of the ring, stamps on Logan's arm, and Logan just bellows in pain, and she's sobbing in the ring. Referee calls for the bell. Greg Hamilton, I think, does a little bit of a blunder here. One for you, Matthew. He announces Sarah Logan as the winner. And initially, presumably by DQ, but that's not the case at all. It turns out that it was just a bad call, and Shayna Baszler won the match by ref stoppage, and she is in the Money in the Bank. Shayna storms off through the crowd and leaves me to give this a B+. Short, sharp, aggressive, really puts Shayna Baszler back in the centre of this conversation about the women's division. Just this fiery, angry rage from Baszler. And Logan was the victim on this one. And it was short and it was brutal, and I'm a fan. Seth Rollins is backstage, staring into the middle distance. He says his career has been crucified. Cool. Akira Tozawa versus Austin Theory now. Theory is out in the ring as Zelina Vega is doing commentary ringside. It's a really busy commentary station tonight. We've got Jerry Lawler back there tonight. We've got Tom Phillips, we've got Byron Saxton, and now we've got Zelina Vega. There's not much social distancing going on there. Tozawa looked good in the little bits of offense that he had. He did a cracker of a somersault senton off the apron and to the outside, smashing into Austin Theory near the barricade. A move that Jerry Lawler called a, you know what, I'm gonna hand that over to Ross on WTF Moments. I'm sure he'll talk about what Jerry Lawler called it instead. How weird, Jerry. But this is a showcase for Austin Theory. We see Tozawa go for the octopus, leads into Theory's version of the TKO. 1, 2, 3, and done. After the match, Andrade and Angel Garza make their way out. They drop Tozawa with a hammerlock DDT and stand there all together like cool guys as Zelina watches on stood on the commentary table. C+ for this. It was a showcase for Austin Theory. Bit long in the tooth with headlock spots that just didn't really do anything for anybody. This could have been a bit snappier, in my opinion. And it's the establishment of Zelina as the modern day Bobby Heenan, which I'm fine with. Rey Mysterio is in the back and he talks about his last encounter with a Mr. Money in the Bank, referring to the time that Kane came out and walloped him for the World Heavyweight Championship all those years ago after Kane had won the Money in the Bank match. Rey says he's going to be on the other side of that this time and we're going to soon call him Mr. Money in the Bank. He's got a match against Murphy and he puts Murphy over big style backstage. I'm up for this match. This will be fun next week. Another Seth backstage bit. He's staring into the middle distance and he says, everyone needs something to have faith in. And he tells us that the Messiah has risen, referring to himself, which is excellent timing on Easter Monday. Garza is back out. He's facing Tehuti Miles next. Garza brings out a rose for the photographer, which I thought was lovely. Is it his partner? I don't know. Someone tell me in the comments who that is. Might just be a nice random lady. No. So Tehuti Miles starts strong. Wait, no he doesn't. He's just been kicked in midair. The key spot in this match is a drop kick in midair. As Tehuti's leaping up, Garza hits a drop kick and whoa my days, it's like Space Jam. They're in the air for years on that. Garza just runs through Miles, hits a Tree of Woe, PK, before getting the wing clipper for the 1, 2, 3. Rinse repeat what we saw last time. Austin Theory and Andrade make their way out with Zelina Vega, and they drop Tehuti Miles with the Hammerlock DDT once again. Let's not keep doing this, because if we were playing Extreme Warfare Revenge on the PC, which I'm sure you were, by this point the crowd would be losing interest. Yes, the crowd. I know what I'm saying. But it was a C. It was a good showing for Garza in this one. Not much to write home about other than Garza looked good. Seek out that drop kick. It's probably a GIF now. Sarah Schreiber interviews Asuka and Kairi Sane backstage. They walk in humming their own theme music. Asuka says Ruby Riott wasn't ready for Asuka. Schreiber asks Kairi if she has confidence about her match. Both Kairi and Asuka are laughing and they walk off dancing. These two are brilliant. These two, along the Street Profits, have been the stars of Monday Night Raw's empty arena era. I'm just putting it out there. Kairi has confidence going into her match next against Nia Jax. It's another Money in the Bank qualifier. Kairi runs at Nia to start this one and just gets hoofed by Nia all the way back. Kairi is just constantly trying to outmaneuver Nia, but Nia just every so often catches her and just drops her. This is a showcase for a quite heely Nia Jax, to be honest. Hits a military press into a Samoan drop, which she now calls the Annihilator. Have we binned off the package DDT already? Okay, I mean, this is fine as well. I kind of prefer the package DDT. And Nia Jax, 1, 2, 3, qualifies for the Money in the Bank. This was a C. I feel like Kairi Sane deserves better than to be a punching bag for Nia Jax, to be honest. And also, are we meant to... This is a problem with a lack of a live crowd. Are we meant to like Nia Jax? Is she the good guy here? I didn't get good guy vibes. I would have thought, right, had this been in front of a live crowd, regardless of what story they're trying to tell, I feel like a live crowd would have cheered the heck out of Kairi Sane in this. Here comes Charlotte Flair. She's out for a chinwag. She talks to us about winning the Royal Rumble. Says she doesn't want to face Becky Lynch for the millionth time. She didn't want to face Bayley for the billionth time. Instead, it's Rhea Ripley, the next big thing that challenges her. And she goes on to beat the next big thing, proving that she is the big thing. Well, it's the big thing. Charlotte says that Vince McMahon himself knew she was the big thing when he put her in the main event at WrestleMania last year. Now she's off to NXT to teach them humility, starting with Io Shirai, who will learn to bow down to the Queen. Woo. It was a C+. It was fine. It was just a very standard Charlotte Flair promo. Put over Rhea Ripley, kind of buried the other women's champions, but that's kind of in canon, so it's fine. It's nice to hear Io Shirai in the conversation, but how about we don't just destroy Io Shirai dead quick? I'm nervous they're giving us this match now, because I'd quite like to see Io Shirai win, and I'm worried that she won't, because this is happening too quick. Bobby Lashley versus No Way Jose now, after a recap of WrestleMania where Bobby said, maybe I need a new manager or a new wife. Dun dun dun. There's still tension between these two because Bobby is on the offense against No Way Jose, and Lana is shouting encouragement outside the ring, to which Bobby rolls out and tells her to shut the hell up. He gets back in the ring. This is No Way Jose's opportunity, but Bobby shuts him down. Bobby's going for a spear. Lana's shouting again. Bobby's going, will you be quiet? I'm trying to wrestle. No Way nearly gets a cheap roll-up, eats a spear after a beauty of a one-arm slam. 1, 2, 3, Bobby wins. There is trouble in paradise. C for this, not too much to say. It was a continuation of the story, the love story of Bobby and Lana, that now Rusev is out of the picture. Bobby's gone, oh, I don't want to marry her anymore. Seth is backstage. He says non-believers have left him no choice but to stomp out all doubt. Stare into the distance, stare into the camera. Cool. Viking Raiders versus Cedric Alexander and Ricochet up next. We get a little bit of story as to why Ceddy and Ricky are suddenly tag team chums. Turns out they've been mates for 10 years and they've always wanted to team together. So here we are. Said he starts strong, but Viking Raiders just overwhelm him until Ricochet gets the hot tag. He's just lighting the place up. Some really good back and forth from everybody. We see some of that high-flying offense from Eric and Ivar. And they're not doing like moonsaults or anything, but a nifty dive outside the ring from Ivar always looks really nice. Finish comes when Eric and Ivar wipe out Ricochet with like a full Nelson into a series of strikes. He is done. Viking experience on Cedric Alexander, but they kind of drop him halfway. So it's kind of a Viking experience with the help of gravity. For the 1, 2, 3. Clean win for the Viking Raiders over a relatively new tag team. Given the match a B, really great chemistry between all 4 of these guys, but man, I can't help but feel this still seems like a fall from grace for Ricochet. I can't help it. I mean, I'm pleased he's teaming with his mate, but like, this is the guy that was like, they did a 4-minute promo on him before he faced Brock Lesnar, and it's just like, okay, now you're in the tag division, all right, mate. Oh, it was a good, okay. Regardless of how I feel about Ricochet in his current role, 4 guys who just worked a blinder, so lovely stuff. The Street Profits are backstage and they introduce the newest member of Monday Night Raw, Bianca Belair, officially part of the Raw roster now. They start talking about the Viking Raiders to the Street Profits. They respect all Vikings for introducing the words happy and egg to the English language, for having great navigational skills and good hygiene. They're just larking about. Bianca Belair snaps them out of it, reminds them that they have never beat the Viking Raiders. Not the Viking Raiders, that's a very different team. They've got BMXs. The Viking Raiders. And she says, like, they need to focus. They need to get the smoke. So Bianca Belair is going to play sort of this, rightly so, pushy cheerleader for the Street Profits. You know, she's going to do her own thing and she's going to be a star in the women's division. But I like the idea of her being the one that goes, lads, snap out of it. Get it together. Go and fight. It's a good role for her. She'll play it well. It is main event o'clock and it is champion versus champion. Andrade versus Drew McIntyre. And we realise just how tall Drew is when Zelina Vega stands next to him and is giving him all the smack talk. He's tall and everybody else just is much smaller than him. But Drew is intense here. I want to go back to a promo that Drew did earlier in the night, which plays into this match. Earlier in the night, Drew did a promo backstage where he talks about a mark on his arm that was caused as a result of the injury that Andrade gave him. And he says that he looks at that mark a couple of times a week. And all he's had, and every time he does, he thinks of Andrade. And so now they're going to have this match. And he said, look, I'm going to beat him. And if I put him on the shelf for 6 months, so be it. It was a phenomenal promo by Drew McIntyre, who has just got this grit about him. I reference that promo now because the story of this match is working over that arm. Andrade is desperate to break it again, and they just spends the whole, like, good part of his offense on this match just trying to wear down this arm of Drew. And then they tell the story. Oh, they're so rich in lore right now with Drew as the champ. They're so rich in lore. They tell the story through commentary that Drew is being beaten down. They found a weak spot. They're isolating it, but instead of getting weaker, he's getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And this causes Drew to fire up, and he just starts wailing onto Andrade. We see Austin Theory and Angel Garza outside trying to interfere. Theory grabs Drew's foot at one point. Drew rolls out of the ring after throwing Andrade on top of them. He rolls out of the ring, picks up Theory. Was it you that grabbed my boot? Chop so loud it pierces the sun. That was quite a funny moment. So Drew is fighting off Andrade, Angel Garza and Austin Theory. He gets onto the top rope and there's Zelina Vega trying to slow him down once again. He nearly succumbs to a hammerlock DDT as a result of this, manages to fight on through, hits an Alabama slam on Andrade, followed by a Claymore. 1, 2, 3. We are done here. As he is just about to start celebrating in the ring, Seth Rollins' music hits. Garza then chop blocks Drew as he's leaving the ring. This distraction just allows Seth just to peg it into the ring wipe out Drew and hit him with multiple stomps, all while staring at Drew, staring into the middle distance, staring at the WWE title. We go off the air with Seth hitting that second stomp onto Drew McIntyre. Whew, a lot going on there. Really enjoyed the main event, which is why I'm giving it a B+. I think that to give it an A, I would have probably given them a bit more time. I would have taken time away from Theory's match earlier, and I'd have put it here. I'd have had a bit more in here, and I might have given it an A. But I'm giving it a B+. That's why I'm giving it a B+. I really, really like the stuff they did in that particular match. And we now have a program for Drew. Going forward, it's going to be Drew versus Seth. That'll be times. Raw this week is getting a B- from me. Whilst there were bits of it that felt quite bloated, like it felt like quite a long episode of Raw, and whilst it felt like the Garza, Andrade, Theory, Vega stuff was a bit too prominent at points, I thought it was a really fun episode of Raw. Some nice matches for the Money in the Bank. We're getting some nice qualifiers. We've got some great men's qualifiers next week. So yeah, I was happy with it. You know, it was a live episode of Raw that pretty much went without a hitch, which is nice. Next week, more of the same, please. That'll be all right. Maybe chuck in a few more botches with like lighting and camera and production, just because I know that Matthew's getting a little bit bored. Love you, bye.